Welcome out to Springville High School. It's a pretty huge night. They've packed the stands, all sorts of events going on tonight, and the Red Devils showing up big. They're also undefeated coming into this game. 1-0 in region play after beating Maple Mountain, not by a lot. A lot of people expected that game to be a little bit more of a separation, but Maple Mountain played well, got something going, not until late, but good start so far for Springville, and I'm sure tonight of all nights they're going to want to impress in front of this big-time crowd.
Back in for the Devils, number 4, Ty Erickson.
Here we're getting set for kickoff. It will be
preparing to kick for the Dons, number 13,
Spanish
James
Fork
Dahl.
in the white with the silver tops, and Springville in the, is that navy?
We're going to call it navy blue.
It's a dark navy blue. It looks good though.
Looks like they, I heard they were having a red out today. A lot of red in the stands, so I'm surprised the team isn't wearing red.
Kick down to about the 1 yard line, and it'll be returned. It's going to be brought up straight down the middle, and there's room to run if he can get to the edge. No one else gets tripped up a little bit, and finally some Dons get around, and he loses the ball after a big time return, and it's been shuffled around a little bit, and it looks like Springville will.
I'd like to introduce our Triple T plays of the game. Triple T is one of our great sponsors here on SFCN. First key to the game is Spanish Fork has to play a near perfect game with minimal turnovers, minimal penalties. Also, they have to try and match Springville's enthusiasm. There's a lot of people here. I have a hard time finding a place to even park.
I'm in the neighborhood somewhere, so I feel your pain. Power I formation, receivers out to each side and tight end on the left side. A quick slant inside, that's complete, and it'll go for about 8 yards. So a good, quick first play gets you into rhythm, and Springville is well across midfield after a big return.
The last key I got here is they have to try and create some turnovers. If you can win that turnover battle, sometimes these upsets can happen, and I think if Spanish Fork beats Springville, it will be an upset tonight.
Oh, big time. I think Springville expects to dominate this region. Although it's a strong region all around, they're a step ahead, and you have a lot of teams who lost a lot of seniors last year. Springville, I'll talk about this in a minute, has a lot of guys returning. There's a power run right off the left side, and he's going to be right at the first down marker. It looks like they will give that to him.
That was Peyton Kelly Polo off to the left side. Ironically, his dad coached the Spanish Fork Dons in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now the principal at Springville High School.
We talked about how Spanish Fork has become Maple Mountain and Salem Hills, but Springville not far off. These two communities have a lot of interchange, including color commentator tonight may or may not be a Red Devil by alumnus. Another run straight up the middle. This one gets taken care of a little bit quicker, just 2 yards, but that's all they needed on a 3rd and inches. So it'll be a first down at about the 42 for the Red Devils.
And I can confirm I did attend 3 years at Springville High School. I wouldn't say it was the best 3 years of my life, but it was 3 years.
Well, just be glad you didn't peak in high school. Again, now you see a lot of spread. That's what all we saw last week against Salem Hills, but a lot more big formations right now for the Red Devils, and both of their backs are big guys. Here we go, straight ahead off to the right this time, and that run on first down after a gang tackle looks like they're going to give him about 5 yards on it. He worked for every yard.
Yeah, Springville is one of those teams that just likes to line up in the I formation and pound the ball. And then once they get tired of doing that a little bit, they like to go with the play action pass downfield. And Jansen Thorpe is one of those guys that is able to provide that play action pass. And he's also kind of a dual threat quarterback as well.
Just one pass so far, but it was a quick slant that worked. And this is play action, but a lot of trouble in the backfield, able to evade 2 Dons and find somebody. That's an excellent play, able to just navigate that pocket and find a completion. We'll see. It looks like they are going to go ahead and move the chain, so an excellent job from Springville's quarterback.
That was a great job by Jansen Thorpe, just buying a little extra time, rolling out to his right and finding his running back, number 42, Jackson Murphy, for the catch that time. Murphy's been lining up as the fullback, but it's great when your fullback can make those type of catches.
And yeah, like I said, both of those backs, he might actually be the smaller back between the two. A lot of great options, and if they can sneak out of the backfield and also catch the ball, you're in trouble. Springville with I believe a 1st and 10. They've got third showing. Another power run right up the middle. Let's go for about 3 yards, and if you can do that all day, that can be pretty heartbreaking for a defense if you just can't stop the run. So we'll see if Springville can continue to control that line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and if you're Spanish Fork, you got to do a little more running blitzing. I think Landon Jensen blitzed on that last play. However, Kelly Polo was still able to drag him for a couple yards after the initial contact.
Twins outright, so one of the first times we're seeing 3 wideouts and a shotgun set for Jansen Thorpe. Blitz comes up the middle, and they're going to do pretty much a little end around, and he finds a gap. He's going to go straight through the Dons defense, and he's going to navigate, miss one more safety, and that is a touchdown for Springville. They jumped up to an early 6-0 lead.
Yeah, it was Bennett Hollinger that time with the carry on the end around. Usually you see him making catches for Springville, but that time he's able to take sweep and get in the end zone, and that was a huge play. That was a gain of 28 yards on that jet sweep.
I think after he broke the initial hole, there was just too much space for him to navigate, and the Dons were a little in disarray. Anytime there's that little bit of trickery and you're not ready for it, can throw you off.
They had the edge covered. It's just up the middle. There was a hole the size of Texas.
And the extra point is good, so complete that one, a 7-point touchdown for the Red Devils. And yeah, like you said, if he would have gone outside, probably where the play was designed, nothing there. Good job by the defensive end, but he found a gap and is able to escape and navigate his way to the end zone.
Yeah, and we'll see if Spanish Fork can answer. And Spanish Fork's offense at times has been very potent, and other times they've struggled. So we'll see which Spanish Fork offense shows up tonight.
So they'll get a turn, see if maybe they can make a mark on special teams. 9:05 to go in the first.
I think Spanish Fork's had some great returns this season. I think it might, if they want to keep in this game, they might need some help from the special teams, as well as Springville was able just to march the ball down that time without any real resistance.
Absolutely. You hope the defense saw some things and knows how to react. Here's the kick. It's going to be just short of the goal line. He is able to return it straight up the middle, but a lot of Red Devils in the way, and it's going to be plugged up right at the 20. Good job. They just seem to get past that line of Dons and have a committee waiting for them.
And that's why Springville won the region last year. They only lost one game. It's been a long time since they've had been in a close game as well, I think, in region.
And out of region, they didn't play an easy schedule. So far they have they're looking to compete. I talked to their defensive line coach, a friend of a friend, and they expect to compete at the highest level each year and see if Region A can give them any competition this year. Thorpe with split backs, 2 men out wide. And it's going to be a fly route right off the top, and it's a little bit long for Jackson Higginson. He did get tripped up, but a little bit too much on that one from Chappell. He did look off left, kind of looking at that quick slant. I think it just is a look off, and then the deep throw falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 for the Dons.
Well, that's going to give those Springville cornerbacks something to think about, knowing that Spanish Fork is willing to go long as they do that on the first play. And they've had some fumbles on those first play runs, so why not take a chance downfield, maybe get some of those nerves out.
Second and 10, quick throw, screen look out left, and it gets broken through. One of the Springville corners able to shove his way through the blocking receivers and nothing doing. A loss of about 1.5 yards, maybe 2, and it's going to be 3rd and a long, long way. A couple of key players to look out for. Number 55 is Junior Molipola, a defensive tackle, and then Cole Bowers is number 11. He'll play both safety spots. He had a couple of big pick sixes against Skyridge, so a lot of strength in this defense for Springville.
And Slavin's the guy that made that last tackle. Looks like he's playing with some sort of broken wrist. He has a soft cast on his left hand, but did a great job of wrapping up that time.
Not stopping him so far. Here we go, 3rd and long. Chappell throws a little bit short. Once again, the target is Higginson, and that looked like they were just trying to get him to the sticks and turn. Would have been a first down, but he was a little bit short on the throw. It is quickly a 3-and-out for the Dons. And remember, last week didn't start out so hot either.
Yeah.
You're facing a higher level of competition, but you just got to remember that it's early in the game and you have plenty of time to get things together.
Yeah, the first 3-and-out. But Chappell, he didn't have time for that play to develop because you can't throw the ball when you're falling down.
Yeah, he's been very quick with it so far under good pressure. There's a nice punt, gets the returner moving, but he catches it on the run. Once again, finding the edge, and enough Don's able to swipe him there, but a pretty similar spot to the kickoff return. There is a flag, looks like in a holding spot, about 15 yards behind where the run ended at about the 46-yard line in Don's territory.
Yeah, great return by Hollinger again that time. Last time he touched the ball, he scored. This time he makes a great return, but it's all for naught as they'll come back with the penalty. And I think Spanish Fork, they look a little lax on that sideline. They need to bring a little more enthusiasm. We saw Salem Hills in that second half last week bring a lot of enthusiasm and was able to come back and win that ball game. I think that's something Spanish Fork's been lacking this season, in my opinion.
It is, and they've got time. Like we said, they have a lot of sophomores playing, but better to learn quick on the job. They still have the ability to make something good out of this region. If Springville is a heavy favorite, there's still a lot of room for that next best team. I think Spanish Fork really feels like they compete with anyone in the region.
I think Wasatch will be tough this season as well.
Power eye once again. Good patient running by number 34, Calapolo. So we've already seen 3 guys carry the ball for Springville. All looked pretty strong. That one goes for another 5 yards.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to go nowhere, but that offensive line just keeps churning the defensive line back, and the running back has patience. Kelly Polo inches his way, and next thing you know, it's a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, no holes that time, which is good. They're not getting separation, but the trench is moving in favor of the Red Devils.
Springville looks pretty big down there on the offensive line as well.
They look pretty big all around. Shotgun. Inside handoff to Calapolo once again, and he is tripped up pretty early on, and that just a 1.5 yard gain. So good job getting in there from last week's MVP Sports MVP of the game, Gavin Campbell, who's looked really good so far. Definitely someone who can challenge the size and speed of that Springville team.
Yeah, and they're going to need him to step up in the rest of that defensive line like they did on that last play and try and match the intensity of Springville.
We've seen both 53 and 55 make a few plays to see if Springville continues to attack the left side of the line, the defensive line.
Nichols in the backfield for Springville this time.
And it's quick handoff to the fullback, and whistles blow before anything can develop. That time the handoff to Cole Bowers, who plays safety as well.
And Springville's gone with 5 or 6 different running backs, so they're not going to get tired.
No, they're keeping them fresh, and that's a two-way player there who maybe after a 3-and-out says, hey, coach, let me spell one of these guys and get a play. But something that could be difficult is when you're over-aggressive, some penalties come along. So Springville now in a 3rd and long situation after a false start. 3rd and I'll call it 8.
This time they spread it for about the first time with 3 wide receivers.
3 wide, tight end out on the left, and he's going to chip and go. Looking at the deep ball, and he is wide open, and nobody can nip at his heels. A couple of Dons look like they're going to track him down. You got to go at the tackle. They waited a little too long for contact, and it is a big-time touchdown. 73 yards for Springville. That was to number 32.
36.
Sorry, 36. We've already talked about it. That's a 2nd touchdown already. Bennett Hollinger.
And he's having an excellent night. He's not the biggest guy, great basketball player as well, as we see him just able to take on Colt Condi at the end of the play and make it into the end zone. Condi just needs to dive for his legs there.
Yeah, Condi was with him for a good 30 yards there and didn't seem to know how to make that tackle full sprint. extra point up and through. 14 love Springville right now. You know, he beat his initial man, and credit Thorpe for knowing exactly where he was and putting it right in the right spot.
Well, this is about how the game started last year. Springville got 2 early touchdowns. Spanish Fork's defense really tightened up, and by the end of that ball game, I think it was just a 2-point differential. So Spanish Fork's not out of it yet, but they're going to have to dig deep in and you know, see if they can't get something going here on offense. You've got to get your defense off the field. You have to pick up a first down on this next possession if you're Spanish Fork.
Absolutely, take some time. And if you're going to get beat, you're going to get beat, but you got to make sure you're not making mistakes, because you know your coach not to let those big plays go by. You got to make Springville earn it. But here comes the second kickoff. I want to thank you for tuning in again. It's a beautiful night in Springville. It's their homecoming. It's a packed house. And thanks if you're here on YouTube, sfcn.org, or, of course, Spanish Fork Channel 17. And that one way out of the end zone after the last one was returned from the 1. Big-time kick, and it'll be a touchback for the Dons.
And we'll see Carson Chapel and the Dons here for the second time. Hopefully they have a little more success as they moved back about a yard and had to punt after a 3-and-out.
You know, and sometimes on that first series, you see something here, there, something that you can attack, and they only have 3 plays to go off of, so you don't know that.
Did they have 12 guys in the huddle? Looks like they did. I'm surprised they didn't call that penalty.
Give him a mulligan to start the game. He's going to push Noah Conway behind him. Blitz is coming, and it's a quick inside handoff. And Lomax hits the entire field to go. And that would have been all daylight for Mr. Lomax, but he gets tripped up by a safety. One more man, and he was gone. So the hole was there.
Watch this amazing tackle by Gardner. It's just a shoestring tackle, literally touchdown saving that time. Sorry to interrupt you, Mitch.
No, you're fine. Somebody might have caught him, but, man, he had a lot of space, and I think that just shows that play, the littlest bit of deception. You kind of had the little look at a rollout, and it was just a quick handoff, and there was daylight. So 1st and 10 for the Dons, and they get that first down, albeit in one play. One-on-one coverage outside where nobody is, and then again, it's just a little short and outside. That one intended for Stanton. So Chapel not on the mark yet today. That's 3 passes that have 1 long and 2 short, but a really good play design. You put it in a safe spot to get a good chunky yardage to see if they go back to that at some point. I think it's a play they actually ran 3 times to the short side of the field in a row last week.
And I think that one might have gotten tipped. Either way, there was a lot of pressure, and it wasn't the ideal passing lane that time.
Yeah, a lot of these throws he's probably going to have to do in 3-step drop on that first option rhythm. Quick handoff out to the outside once again, and it is swarmed by the big defensive line of Springville. After forward progress, it'll be about no gain, maybe a few inches.
Not cutting him any slack, and it's 3rd down.
I'll try and give you the down and distance each play as it comes along. Of course, 3rd and 10 right now. We connect to the stadium scoreboard, and right now they're having some technical difficulties. So it says 0 down and 0 yards to go, but that is not yet an innovation that's come to football. So we'll keep you updated and let you know if that comes back online. 4:37 to go in the first quarter. Dons down 14-0, 3rd and 10. Here's a quick drop. No time. Once again, that ball is tipped. As you said, it was a little bit of a copy of the last play. Looking outside for Stanton and just not enough time, and a good job getting in the air by the Red Devils on the D-line.
Right, and I believe that was Andrew Slack for Springville. He is also the center of the basketball team. Very tall guy, number 77, so he's going to create havoc in those passing lanes, as we saw in 2 out of the 3 plays after they gained the first down.
This is high, not too deep. It's going to land at about the 40 and skip out of bounds and kind of spin back in. And go ahead.
It did go out of bounds because the ref's walking up. But
kick goes out of bounds.
Not a bad kick because it didn't get returned.
No, and overall pretty good distance. It had plenty of height. You like to get your players there. Last week, a big time tackle on a punt was very beneficial for the Dons, but pretty good field position to start every drive so far for the Red Devils.
Right, and if you're Spanish Fork's defense, you've got to figure out where number 36 is, Bennett Hollinger, and make sure that you have somebody on him. He's already got 2 touchdowns, one off that jet sweep and then off that 73-yard pass.
And this one straight up the middle, and wow, it was plugged up after about 2 yards, but somehow it ends up being an 11-yard gain. The feet just kept on churning, and the line kept on pushing. 1st and 10 now in Don territory.
And not hard for Springville to call plays right now when that middle is wide open. Well, it really wasn't open, but the offensive line just was churning people back. Spanish Fork might need to get a little bit lower there on the defensive line as they're losing a lot of leverage.
Slack on the right, Gavin Deedy, number 67 on the left.
Straight up the middle once again, and that one, Kelly Polo, 5 yards. It just seems like 6 yards, maybe. It seems like clockwork so far. See if the Dons can figure something out to get through that line. Pretty standard dive plays so far for the Red Devils.
Yeah, they're just choosing the left or the right, and they're just bullying their way through Spanish Fork's defensive line into the second unit, and which brings up a 2nd and 4 here for Springville.
And that one was a fake on the outside and then an inside turn to the running back. And looks like there's a flag thrown at the end. See if there's late or face mask, because I didn't see a hold in that area. It doesn't seem to be that kind of call, but kind of a nice piece of trickery, but got sniffed out.
Was that the tight end that came back on the sweep?
I think it was still one of their main runners. I don't know. I think it was Kelly Polo in the end, but I don't know where
Jackson
he's lined
Child, but I think he might have even been lined up as a tight end, took a step back. I don't know. We have a face mask, so that's a huge penalty.
Looked like in that area, and that hurts for the Dons when you finally get a good stop. And obviously the face mask wasn't needed; it was clearly sniffed out. Accidentally, well, I assume, get your hand into that face mask a little bit, and now it's 1st and 10 from the 37 for the Red Devils, and they're back in that spread formation. Dive straight up the middle in a little bit of room, but a nice piece of tackling by Landon Jensen. And it's 5 yards once again. I like the Red Devils offense. It's about as standard as it gets. You got a fullback, running back, 2 out wide, and the tight end on the left. Something standard you don't see as much anymore, but it allows for a lot of different looks with the running backs. You have the crossbuck options on the handoff, and you have the old-fashioned jet sweep end-arounds that you don't always get to do.
Right, plus it opens up the play action. And then when you do spread it, the team's not prepared with their personnel on the field.
And this one, same plays last time, but a fake and a one-on-one battle over the top, and this one's caught in the end zone, and that's 3 touchdowns, at least CPX point goes through to nothing for the Red Devils. And once again, they get one-on-one on the outside. That touchdown. Brendan Reimer on that catch. First one not to Hollinger. Check it out, the inside, the step back, and the corner. Once again, Condi, who has a lot of speed, just gets beat. Don't know what he bid on, but it's another touchdown for the Red Devils, and they've been able to use that, the straight 9 fly route, for a couple of touchdowns here.
And Reimer's the leading receiver for Springville coming in this game. He's a hard guy to stop, but I would expect a little more resistance from the Dons, but they're down 21-0, and we haven't even ended the first quarter yet. It's reminding me a little bit of their playoff game where they lost to East 63-6 last year.
So 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Like you said, we're not even close to the end of that one, and 21 on the board for Springville. And 3 pretty huge chunk yardage plays that they've been able to find. We'll see if the safeties maybe look to help up over top, but you can never be sure. Let's take a moment here before we kick off for a new series and thank our sponsors. We're well into the first quarter, and it's been an entertaining game, although difficult for Spanish Fork. We're here thanks to the Car Guys, Dickerson Automotive, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Mikkel Christiansen Wise Attorneys at Law, State Farm Lance Wilson, MVP Sports, and 2 Jacks Pizza. A bunch of wonderful local businesses that help us to broadcast these games, and of course, They help us bring you certain elements like the Car Guides replay, and keep an eye out for who does show up for the Dons tonight. We'll have an MVP Sports MVP of the game. Here's the kick from Springville. Line drive, and foot was on the line, but they're going to let him run straight up the middle, and plenty of room, but again, just tripped up. There was one man to beat.
Saili, he has been the man back there on some of these returns, and he catches that ball, and he's trying to get to the end zone and goes with the full head of steam, and that's been, at times, Spanish Fork's best offense.
And the best field position of the day so far, just starting at the 31. You get the feeling they may be able to break a big play, and if you can just get Springville, just stop them a couple times, maybe get your own momentum, slow the game and have some possession, see if you can battle your way back in. There's a quick blitz and then a quick handoff, and it goes for nothing. 2nd and 10 coming up. That's something that worked before, kind of the quick hand to Lomax, not letting anything develop for the defense, but they were bringing the house. And again, a lot of size inside.
There is a lot of size, and if you're Spanish Fork, maybe you try one of those sweeps of your own, or getting something going the other way, and then like they did earlier, where they had that little draw play where all the play was going to the left, and then they handed it back on the draw to the right. I don't know. Misdirection.
And this is a handoff on the inside out to the right. Lomax finds space once again, and that's a 10-yard gain. Another, or a 9-yard gain. We'll see where they end up spotting, and they're actually going to pull it back a yard. So we're looking at 3rd and 2. Check out the replay. Aggressive play by Springville, but the hole is made by those 2 initial blockers.
That's a horrible spot. Sorry to interrupt, Mitch.
Oh, yeah. When they moved the ball back, I was a little confused. I knew it wasn't a first down, but it sure looked closer to 10 yards than 8 yards.
He clearly made it to the 40 on the Car Guys instant replay. His knee didn't hit, but the refs didn't see it that way.
3rd and about 2. Blitz coming once again from Springville. They don't hide it. Lomax off, finds that edge, and he's able to get 4 or 5 yards. So right now his power running, able to create a successful situation. And again, every play that you let the defense rest and you're able to develop positive yards, I think is a good sign when you're already struggling with just 36 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Right, and I don't think Spanish Fork's going to be able to run in between the tackles, so these off-tackle plays is where their bread and butter might be. And then when Springville adjusts and tries to cover the edge a little more, that should open up the inside for this running attack for the Dons.
And hopefully when they do throw again, Chappell is able to get a little bit more comfortable with those throws, and if they can work the outside, that's a pretty good sign.
Pretty aggressive coverage by Springville as well.
Good blocking that time, and we're going all the way. Condi's alone in the ball. Oh, it should have been picked off. It was in and out of the hands of the Red Devil defensive back. Condi did have a step. Chappell, though, and he's got a lot of big guys in his face. He had a little more time, but not able to locate that ball quite perfectly. It was double coverage, but he had the step.
Yeah, and Chappell's been hit and harassed, and balls have been knocked down, so he's got an internal clock of how much time he has, and he had a little more time and just needed to take an extra second, but he thought, oh, I got to get rid of it.
2nd and 10, last play of the first quarter with about 8 seconds to go. It's going to be an inside handoff, and they go off tackle once again in their space, but a flag along the way in a holding area. That one would have gone for about 6. We'll see where it ends up as the clock hit 0 on the end of the first quarter.
Holding is the call against Spanish.
Got a hold, so that'll negate the long run here.
And it'll be 2nd and 20 to start off the second quarter. We're going to go ahead and take a moment. We'll be right back with second quarter action here for you on Spanish Fork Channel 17. Welcome back out here to Springville High School on a beautiful evening in Utah County. We've got Region 8 football here for you between the Spanish Fork Dons and the Springville Red Devils. And thus far, the home team on their homecoming night has taken it to the Dons pretty good. Dons do have possession of the ball right now. They're going to be looking at about 2nd and 20.
Yeah, and if you're Spanish Fork, well, things can't go much worse than they did in the first half based on my math, and I'm not very good at math. We're heading for an 84-0 blowout here, which I don't think is going to happen. But if you're Spanish Fork, you have nothing to lose at this point. You might as well come guns blazing and just see if you can't get Chapel in a rhythm here, because you're second. Oh, geez, that's they got to get to the 40, the Springville 46, and they're lined up on their own 32.
That is true. Nothing to lose, but you know, sometimes that offensive explosion, you're able to lock down and dig in. So see what they decide to do. And this is what's been successful. Early handoff to Lomax, but that time the penetration was there from the Red Devil defensive line. No space to get off tackle, which has worked so well. And you got to think there's one thing they did right. It was 4 or 5 plays with chunks of yards off tackle, and so that should be the focus of the defensive line for the Red Devils.
Yes, it should be, and we'll see what happens here. But my goodness, the student body's shaking the whole booth. Feel like I'm at work. They're doing construction right by me, and our building's shaking, and now this booth's shaking. And bad memories.
Right behind the students there, jumping up and down. It's rocking the booth as we're just, of course, on some regular grandstands. And 3rd and 20, they have a right to cheer. Time this time, and it's going to be long one-on-one battle, and it should have been intercepted once again. That time dropped by Remmer, who we've been told to look out for and already has a couple of good plays. That one, again, that internal clock might just be affecting. You see Chapel here, he does have the time, but he just kind of launches this one, and whereas he did overthrow, that time underthrown, and there was no time really for Higginson to get back and battle for it. Fortunately, or unfortunately, because that would have been a good size punt, that one dropped by Remmer.
Yeah, and Spanish Fork lives to punt.
Rugby punt from Stanton. When it's picked up in a little bit of fancy footwork, and he eventually gets away with 3 downs around and finally taken down at about the 45-yard line. I believe like that was Carter Walker with some slippery moves to get yards when he was down. Right when he caught it, someone had his ankle and not able to bring him down. So again, excellent field position for the Red Devils.
Yeah, and they're in business, and they've been able to throw the ball deep. They've been able to run the ball at the middle. I would love to be the offensive coordinator for Springville right now, because you pretty much can dial anything up.
It's a good time. We've seen them in 2 different formations, both very successful, and they, if there's any mercy, it's not going to come until the second half. So you got to be aware of those big, deep throws and see if you can force them into plays where you have more defenders around. Straight up the middle, a power dive, and swallowed up, but they keep on trucking. That was Kelly Polo for about 8.5 yards.
Yeah, and he's good for those 8 yards. Those holes are huge. We're going to sound like a broken record by the end of the night, because Springville's offense is just able to get massive gains on those dive plays up the middle.
And it's textbook, you know, your guard and your tackle push out the nose tackle and the defensive end, and then your fullback comes through and hits that linebacker. Eventually Don Swarm there, but by then you have 4 yards, and then he pushes 4 more because he's so strong. 2nd and 2, Red Devils back in the power I. 10 minutes to go in the second. That time had to search for some space, but it's going to be a first down by a few inches.
It's enough for a Red Devil first down.
If you're watching on YouTube, or you may or may not be able to hear us, we are having some difficulties, or if that's your plan at some point later tonight, there's some technical issues going on, but you can flip right over to sfcn.org and stream the game wherever you are, and that is, of course, every Friday night for the game that we happen to be covering. So if you're on YouTube and you're kind of in right now, but it's been back and forth, we are having some issues. Here's the throw from Thorpe into double coverage, and just a little bit long for Reimer.
Yeah, Reimer was double covered in those bracket coverage, and Thorpe did a good job of putting the ball in about the only spot.
Yeah, just about perfect.
He could, and he's looked pretty impressive for Springville.
He has, and he's not being asked to do anything crazy. He's had a quick slant, and then he's had these over-the-top passes where you have to locate him, which is a specific but quality skill for a quarterback. That time, though, we saw the safety come over the top and help, which was lacking in the 2 big throws before. It was one-on-one with the corner with the safety coming over late. Inside handoff, and tripped up was Kelly Polo, and that's going to go for no gain. So every little play positive for the Dons, and it's 3rd and 10. So if there's any point you come through and force them into a difficult situation, it's right now. A lot lies on the shoulders of these linebackers in plays like this where you don't quite know what's going to happen.
That was a great tackle by Harmon from his defensive tackle position. But getting back to Thorpe, he got injured during the summer, missed the first game against Dixie, but so he's coming back from an injury, and he's looking pretty good. And Springville will be forced to throw the ball this time, and they've kind of got an interesting formation.
Timeout on the field.
Thorpe, of course, a second-year starter, and last year Springville did get to the Final Four. So when you return a lot of guys, you're going to have some good results. There are close to 20 seniors who are starting on this team. Now, I'm sure a lot of them may be starting for the first time, but that's plenty of experience up front. And that's, I mean, that means you have 4 guys who don't have that 4-year experience mark who are starting for the Red Devils.
Yeah, and you know, they're going to lose a lot of talent from this team, but at the same time, I think Springville can once again make a push to make it up to Rice Eccles in that Final Four. And once you get there, it's anybody's ball game. Although I think it's going to be East winning it again. In my opinion, they've got such a strong offense and defensive line, and they run that option attack. It's going to be tough for somebody like Springville to compete, but Springville does have a big line themselves.
They do, and one luxury is when you have this advantage and you're playing the 2 and 3 wide receiver role, you always have that tight end as an extra blocker, which can do so much. And they do have trips this time with just 1 running back. And it's going to be an end around, turns inside, and then somebody got a piece of him in the backfield. It was Campbell, and then 2 Dons combined for the tackle. And for the first time, we've seen the Red Devils stop. So a huge step forward after a disastrous first quarter. The Dons able to come up with a stop. Their offense has had a few moments to gather themselves, and Stant's going to go back to return this one, see if they can go ahead and get on the board, draw this within 2 scores.
Yeah, and I think Springville went back to that jet sweep play because they scored on it earlier, and that time Bios and Landon Jensen were able to strike that one out. What do we got here? Delay a game, maybe?
Penalty marker on the field.
Maybe an extra man on the field.
Oops. Why not try and play with 12? You're only up 21-0.
That's an issue we've seen both teams face now. Of course, it was long before the snap. Dons were able to get that 12th man off and didn't get called for it, luckily. 12 man in the huddle is, of course, a penalty. Pretty standard lineup from each side. Stanton again waiting back for that punt. He's at about the 9-yard line. Nice looking punt, plenty of time. And that one, a good fake by Stanton. Wanted him to think that it was underneath it. Hit it about the 7-yard line, about 20 yards to the right of him, and rolls into the end zone.
I believe it hit one of the Springville Red Devils' helmets and bounced into the end zone, because I thought I saw it hit a helmet and bounce back up in the air. I don't know if we can see that on the instant replay.
No replay on that one, but we'll go ahead and take another look at our sponsors. Who's with us tonight?
We've got the car guys with the instant replay, Dickerson Automotive with the offensive drive of the game, Triple T Heating, Cooling, Plumbing with the Triple T keys to the game, Mikkel Christiansen Wise with the great defensive assist of the game, Lance Wilson State Farm is with the great assist, apologize, and MVP Sports Player of the Game, as well as 2 Jack's Pizza.
Spectacular businesses helping us to bring this game to you tonight. I'm Mitchell Marshall here with Chris Hurst. 21-0 Springville, but a stop by the Dons, and they're back in business at the 20-yard line. Quick throw outside. This one's on target. First good throw, and unfortunately Saili couldn't handle it. It bounced right out of his chest, and it'll be 2nd and 10.
Now, Mitch, at halftime, we're going to have another homecoming presentation. We're lucky enough to have 2 in a row, as we were at Spanish Fork's homecoming last week. In basketball, one year, when I was doing the Spanish Fork games, we went to 3 senior nights in a row, and so those halftime shows can sometimes go a little bit long.
When we were doing baseball, we did back-to-back graduation ceremonies where the guys couldn't make their graduations. Chapel steps back, gets a completion, and this is going to go for about 7 yards. So good forward progress. That went out to Stanton. But we watched back-to-back games, graduation ceremonies for the guys whose graduation was happening mere feet away in the UCC Center out at UVU, but we're on their baseball field playing in a playoff game. Jaron Hall, someone you know from Maple Mountain, it was interesting to see him, who's a 3-sport athlete all of his time. I called him across 3 sports, had to get his diploma on a baseball field. So all sorts of events come forward and make these games interesting. Here's Chapel on 3rd and short, and Stanton tripped as he was trying to turn back in. Rough because he was thrown to a spot and had some time, and Stanton just slips.
And, you know, once again, it says 0 down and 0 to go. It's 4th down now, and Spanish Fork will line up to punt. I wonder if they're using the 0 and 0 in the Arena Football League yet.
Yeah, that's probably something. Now, in the XFL, that was definitely a thing. And another flag.
Ooh, and if this is on Springville, it's a substitution. It's a first down. I think it is. The offense will come back on. They have 12 guys lined up. A lot of miscommunication on this Springville special teams lining up.
It happened on the other side of the punt just a couple plays ago, and their captains are talking to the refs saying, no, we only had 11. Let's see if they come together to discuss it. The offense coming back on the field for the Dons, but the Sticks have held still at 4th and 3.
CIC. I think there's only 11 right now.
And it looks like they're going to go ahead and wave off the flag.
I didn't see anybody run off for Springville, and they only have, I'll double count, but it looks like they only have 11 out there.
Back to 4th and 3. Springville's got 2 returners back. They have kind of a trips right look on the off block where the rugby punt's coming.
Ooh, that's a penalty.
And Stanton gets knocked over. That should be a first down. The ball is fair, caught by the Red Devil returner, but a flag comes through as roughing the kicker call.
Yeah, and that was on number 6 for Springville that time, Kalamula. And I don't know what he was seeing there, because he clearly could have stopped, but he decided just to run into the punter anyways, and that'll give Spanish Fork a first down. And that's huge, because if you were able to get the ball for Springville, march down and take a 28-0 lead, you'd take all the momentum going into the half. But if Spanish Fork somehow able to score on this, that's a huge turn of events.
Absolutely. You get your first stop of the game, you're able to get a first down. A couple of penalties have hurt Springville already, and we're almost halfway through at 6:30 the second quarter with no points for Springville, whereas last quarter they got 21. So you find the positives and see if you can put something together. Defense getting plenty of rest now. Inside quick handoff to Lomax, and he's stuffed at the point of action. Nothing doing.
And that's pretty much summed up the Dons' running game up the middle. Now, when they've tried to go off tackle, they've had success, and I don't know why they've gone away from it here on this drive.
Keep them honest. Keep them honest on the inside. Maybe try and open up the outside. But, yeah, nothing doing, but you can never repeat the same thing too many times. Let's see if Chapel can locate. He got his first completion on this drive for about 7 yards, and some other things have been there. And it will be a quick drop out of the shotgun. Similar play to the first completion. Looks like that's Higginson for a gain of 5. It'll be 3rd and 5.
I'm going to correct you. That was Wee Stanton that time on the
little
little
too. My apologies.
Hitch, but we're quite a distance away from here. But, yeah, now it's a more manageable 3rd and about 5 here, and this is another huge 3rd down for the Dons if they want to get back into this game before the half.
Yeah, last 3rd down, they tried the quick out on the wide side of the field to Stanton, and he tripped up trying to come back for it. See if they try and get that space in the secondary once again, or maybe try and get back off to the edge. No big opportunity for play action yet. That's another option, as they've been running most of the time. And it'll be a three-step drop. Tons of pressure coming. This one outside and a little short for Stanton, who dives back for it along with the corner, and it's going to land incomplete. That would have been a first down. And again, the pressure, Chappell had to get rid of it right when he did. And with 4:56 to go, it'll be a punt for the Dons, down 21-0.
Yeah, and if you cannot provide that 2 or 3 seconds of pass protection, it throws the timing of the playoff, and Chappell had to throw that a lot earlier than he wanted to. The other thing is, I wonder if he should roll out a little more.
Yeah, find some space. Stan's almost getting blocked. They're putting extra guys on the side where he's rugbying. And that one, punt, not bad though, down to the 30-yard line. It was a little bit short and just runs into a Spanish Fork. Don doesn't even get to the returner, and that's where Springville will take up offense.
Now, Springville's strategy on this possession is probably going to try and use up all 4 minutes and 47 seconds and get into the end zone with a 28-0 lead here. If you're Spanish Fork, though, you have to step up on this possession and try and get the ball back for your offense, or at the very minimum, keep Springville from getting any more points, because your offense hasn't looked very good at all, and you cannot give up any more points if you want to stay in this ball game.
Springville, in that ground and pound offense, that's what they've done most of the time out of this formation. And the handoff will go back to the running back, and that one is tripped up after, looks like no gain. So successful first play, not allowing those big 5 or 6 yard chunks that they've seemed to start every drive with up until now.
Yeah, they didn't gain anything on first down on that run, and that's a win for the Spanish Fork defense, and they stepped up and with a run blitz and are kind of anticipating some of this play calling. So great job by the defense that time in the coaching for calling that run blitz.
From the center of the field, Power Eye on 2nd and 10, and the toss out to Kelly Polo, and there's a flag, generally in a holding area unless there was a face mask on the tackle, but that went for a gain of 1. But we'll go ahead and wait and hear the penalty.
We'll see. Looks like we might. Quite a discussion going on here on the sideline.
And it will be on Springville, still haven't gotten an exact call.
Holding is the call against Springville.
I believe they're calling that on the fullback.
Now, you had
time.
the option of declining that and having a 3rd and 9. Instead, you go back to 2nd and 20. With the big chunks of yardage they've been able to find.
Clock's really having some issues now.
Yeah.
It showed 40 minutes, but now it's really only 4:03 it should be.
Referees, of course, keep track of this as well. Shotgun, and Thorpe slips up, not able to get it out, and he is sacked. That's a huge play for the Dons, making it from 2nd and 20 to 3rd and about 27.
And that time it was Gavin Campbell once again up the middle trying to get the sack, or he does get another sack, and he's got quite a few this season.
Yeah, he had a huge game last week. He just beat that tackle one-on-one, and not enough time for Thorpe to look around. He slipped up a little bit, but he would have had to get rid of it right then on rhythm. I think that one was a sack regardless. So these big-time plays coming through, and this one's got to go a long way. So see if these safeties can make sure nobody gets behind him on 3rd and 27 or so. And this one is launched out into coverage, and it goes behind the receiver and Condi out of bounds. So 4th and a long, long way to go. That's back-to-back stops for the Dons defense in this second quarter. They've found something. The offense moved the ball a little bit, so good news for Dons right now.
Yeah, great job by that defensive line. They came through on that possession and were able to get a lot more penetration into the Springville backfield and able to stop those running backs before they got ahead of steam.
Punter is a step into the end zone, and the returner is waiting just in front of his own 40. 3 minutes to go. This one will land well in front of the 50, and Stanton's going to let it roll. End up going to be not a bad punt at all. It will be in Don's territory at about the 39-yard line.
I believe that Schreiner, that's the punter out there, and man, he saved 2 points. That ball, or possibly 7, that ball was way high, and he had to get up on his ladder to bring that down, so he did a great job of not giving up any points that time and getting that punt away.
So with 3 minutes to go, after being down 21-0 at the quarter, the Dons, if they can get this going with fairly good field position, could go into the half at 21-7, and that's a whole lot of new life, especially after the way your defense is performing. It's going to be twins right, split backs in the shotgun, one out left, blitz coming, and a quick inside handoff to Lomax, and that gets blown up. Again, a lot of bodies in there for Springville, and they don't have to be concerned about the quick throw to the outside yet. We'll see if Chapel can connect on one of those.
Yeah, and Springville's secondary is playing way close. A lot of bump and run coverage, a lot of man-to-man, but when your defensive line can put a lot of pressure on it like Springville has, your corners don't have to cover that lawn, and you don't want to give up that quick pass, and that's what Springville's been doing.
Same formation, 2nd and 10 for Spanish Fork. 2:21 to go. And this is going to be a throw to the outside, and it's standing, and he turns out and kind of dives forward after he gets wrapped up by the corner, and that's going to go for a gain of about 7 yards. That's a pass they've been looking for. They've completed once, and they know it's there, so good positive yards. See if they can keep taking advantage and keep the secondary honest.
A nice quick 3-step drop. Chapel releases the ball right on time. Springville didn't get any pressure. Now it's a 3rd and 3, and this is a huge 3rd and 3 for the Dons.
Manageable and almost at midfield with 1:45 and counting to go. And the referees are talking about something. Looks like maybe a timeout. Nope. Just sorting something out, so we'll go ahead and continue on with 3rd and 3 for the Dons. They do have all of their timeouts at the moment. And this is going to be an outside swing, and it's a double pass to a wide open Higginson. He's going to catch it at the 25, and he's in the end zone. It's 21-7, and a big time piece of trickery from the Dons to bring themselves within 2 scores after a night and day 1st to 2nd quarter.
And Noah Conway gets his first touchdown pass of the season as he comes out of the backfield, and that was clearly the design all the way, and that caught Springville with their pants down, for lack of a better term, that time. And Higginson catches that pass. That's I got about a 52-yard touchdown pass for that.
Absolutely, and now it looks like they are going to go for 2, and they've got the old swinging gate formation with their line out to the left. Conway by himself, inside pass, and are you kidding me? They're up to 8 points on that one. Nobody from Springville even came inside with him when he ran in on the slant.
And we'll make that last drive in that pass by Conway our Dickerson Automotive great drive and great play of the game.
Check this out one more time. Springville didn't know what to do. That's a formation I've seen. It's pretty common in high school, but not something you necessarily train for. Their line was out to the left. Then you just have a couple of linemen, your snapper, one more, and the kicker. No one really rushed in on Conway, and a man just came in untouched for the slant.
You know who caught it? The kicker, James Daw.
Really? I was trying to check that number out. That's excellent.
So if they call that check off, the line will move back, and Dahl would have went back and kicked that, but instead he's got himself 2 points.
And back-to-back good throws from Conway, who's making things happen. Now, the Red Devils do have 1:27. I'm sure they're going to be fired up after that, but what an excellent way. A big play to combat a couple of big plays that got you down. Spanish Fork back in business with a couple of excellent things. And just number 44, Bradley Nickel, would have blown that play up if it was a toss run. Credit to him. You have to break down. That's what he did, and it allowed just enough time for Conway to step back. And credit to him for getting it off. That one goes out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. But big ups to Conway for just setting back, and luckily the trick worked, and you had a receiver all by himself. I'm going to talk about that play all night. I don't know. That was awesome.
That was an awesome play, but unfortunately, Daw comes back after catching the 2-point conversion and kicks it out of bounds, and Springville will be in business from their own 35. They have all 3 they took one earlier. They only have 2 timeouts left, but the way they've been throwing the ball, they have plenty of time. And
we'll see if they do try and get chunks in the run game, if the Dons expect run, or if they do air it out. They are coming out in that power I formation. And he had that kick. I didn't know if they were going for a pooch because they didn't want a big return, but obviously way too far out to the sideline, which is a flag. Quick handoff to Kelly Polo, and again starts off with a big chunk of yardage. That goes for about 8 with a minute 17 and ticking to go. No timeout by Springville. They're just going to jump right back on this ball. I'm guessing they came out with 2 plays called.
The no-huddle I formation.
Absolutely. In this one, a straight run once again and plenty of room for Kelly Polo. He gets taken down, but it's another gain of over 10 yards there now into Don territory. The clock stopped to move the chains. No timeout, so they won't lose any time.
They might just run the ball I formation. We're just going to run the same play until we call a timeout, guys.
See this one, same exact play, and he's broken his way through, and no Don's going for him and eventually taken down at about the 21. Looks like they're going to have him out at the 21-yard line. Again, 50 seconds to go, plenty of time, and that time rather than an 8-yard chunk, almost broke the touchdown. Power I, they're probably going to do the same thing again. This time it gets swallowed up, and he gets thrown down for no gain. A good job by the defense of stepping up after a few successful plays. And now it looks like they'll take a timeout with 37 seconds to go.
And I wonder if Kelly Polo was a little tired because he was stumbling a little bit late on that run, and they ran 4 plays right to the right. That's an interesting concept. Hey, we can run the ball on these guys. Why not just go no huddle, I formation, line it up, punch it down their throats?
I wonder who's been in the last couple of drives because they haven't been able to get that big push, and all of a sudden it's there again. But like I said, the Dons looking maybe for a bigger play, and our camera's rocking because the crowd is rocking. But they're looking for a bigger play. Maybe those linebackers aren't as aggressive coming in to help out the defensive line. But right now, a short field, they eventually spotted them at about 18.5-yard line. And it'll be 1st and 10, plenty of time, 37 seconds, easily a few plays with a timeout to go. And the Red Devils looking to extend their lead to 3 touchdowns once again.
Now, if you're Spanish Fork, you have to respect that I formation run.
Yes.
And usually in these situations, you're expecting a pass.
Yeah, 90 seconds is plenty of time with 2 timeouts in football, but I think you still look for them to pick up those chunks of yards. They are just able to do it on the ground. Stan will pass this time. He's got one-on-one coverage on the outside, and he's going to go for the dive, the fly route all the way out, or a little bit outpost, and a little bit too long for
Ben Schreiner that time.
So long for Schreiner, 31 seconds to go. Third. Throughout they had that first run play, 3rd and 7 for the Red Devils. So now see if they maybe try and run it to get that first down. Wouldn't be surprised if they go for the end zone, but want to try and get out with 7.
It's 3rd down, so they've, if they don't pick up some yards here, it'll be 4th. You kick the field goal.
I think in this case they would. First time we've really seen a rollout. Thorpe gets tracked down, but nobody makes the tackle, and that ball gets tipped up in the air when he was looking for his fullback who was swinging out there, Jackson Murphy, and it gets pushed away. So 4th and 7 now for the Red Devils. Right now we're showing about 16 seconds on the clock.
President of the United States in 1986 was Ronald Reagan.
So, well, looks like they will kick the extra point as I see, the field goal is Ben Schreiner's running out here.
So a good job that time. It's the first time we've really seen them kind of try and do a role play, and there wasn't much time. Credit to the outside backers and the defensive ends, making sure they ran with the stretch, and of course nobody getting open in the secondary either. So a good defensive stand after some big plays. 24 seconds to go, so they'll kick this, and there will be a little bit more time for the Dons, who have 3 timeouts.
It's a 36-yard kick here for Schreiner.
It's down and it's blocked, and that
is no good.
I didn't even see where
Riley
the ball
Hess,
went.
I believe, he came in with plenty of time, but I didn't see the touch, so maybe it was just a miss with the guy coming.
I didn't see it get blocked.
Was celebrating.
I didn't
see it. I didn't see any contact. It looked like, I believe, number 9 Parker Swenson came in with plenty of time. He was untouched, but I didn't actually see the ball get blocked. So either way, no more points go on the board for Springville, and 17 seconds remain on the clock for the Dons. Now, you put the ball in trouble here if you go for the bomb, so wouldn't be surprised to see him get out after a very successful 8-0 quarter. Things are frantic here as they're preparing for the homecoming celebration.
Yeah, we got people running in here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just trying to make it out of here alive.
They want the music. Everything's got to be right for the dancers. We saw Spanish Fork last week have their own very entertaining halftime show.
Yeah, the music was amazing, as in the lyrics were very lyrical.
Yeah.
The answer is Krista McCullough.
So the clock is actually
21
seconds. Well, but it shows 2 minutes and 11. I'm not sure.
No, we're actually in the room with the clock guy, and it's a technical issue. He's working his butt off to keep these things running as technical issues keep arriving. But we'll get you for down and distance, and he gets that clock going every time as soon as he possibly can.
I'm proposing a school bond to buy us new clocks here in the district in Nebo, because it is just not. It's just not working out. But credit the guy.
And refs as well, who are keeping an eye and making sure that they keep everything exact, because you want to make sure everything's executed at the highest level.
And so
it'll be 1st and 10 with 21 seconds to go when we return to the action, but a successful second quarter after a disaster of the first quarter. Like you said, it's not going to be 84-0. Spanish Fork has skill and pride to avoid that, and of course these young guys will remember this next year when the script is a little flipped as far as how much experience is on each team. But see if
Spanish Fork's only down 13. They've won this quarter 8-0. We still have a lot of ball game ahead of us.
Here's a snap. Campbell will take a knee, so we will go in to halftime with the score of 21-8. We kind of recapped it right there. A tale of 2 quarters, still an uphill climb against a very good school on their homecoming night. But we appreciate you tuning in here to Spanish Fork Channel 17. We'll go ahead and hear a word from our sponsors and bring you back with the third quarter. Welcome back to Springville High School. The band's getting ready. The dancers are getting ready. The cheerleaders getting ready, because it's
homecoming.
It's homecoming. I mean, you don't get a bigger crowd than this really to come and see your stuff.
And usually you try and schedule a win for homecoming. So I don't know, if I was a Spanish Fork Don, I'd be a little offended by this.
Yeah, that's true.
When I was in Springville, we would schedule Payson with regularity for the homecoming game. Both as a sophomore and senior, we did that.
And you're in region, so you can't really do somebody who's not competition or 3A. But sometimes I've heard the politics of athletic directors. There's only so much you can do about a schedule. But up first, it looks like we have the Red Devil Band. See if they're as good as their football team.
Claire Smith. Study abroad in London. Anna Claire Smith. Now our homecoming queen for 2017. Basketball and softball. Following graduation and a 3-year fitness program, Haley wants to be a veterinarian. The family are her biggest fans. They express their gratitude to all who have made her Springville high school years so memorable. And Haley loves you all for it. Ladies and
Welcome back to Springville High School.
Mitch, you got to put the headset on before you talk.
I was just ready to go without putting the headset back. Minor technicality, not needing the microphone. But we're about 3 minutes away from kicking off this second half. No lack of big plays in the first half, and it turned around for Spanish Fork as well. And if you...
Sorry, we're adjusting our levels right now.
If you stayed tuned for that halftime show, a lot of fun stuff, some dancing, some band, and a great presentation for some excellent students who won royalty. And another thing is we've got some halftime or some scores for you from some other games of note. Right now, Salem Hills is beating Uinta 28-14, but the real one is from right here, Maple Mountain's having a game.
Yeah, they're beating American Fork 13-7, and Maple Mountain goes into that game 0-4, and American Fork 3-1, and for American Fork,
trap game
for American Fork, I guess. But next week, right here on SFCN, we will have the Maple Mountain Spanish Fork rivalry for you live, the battle for the fork, if you will.
And that's going to be spectacular. It's always fun. Last year was fun. Baseball this past season had its ups and downs, and again, teams show up for a rivalry regardless if one is having a better year, and thus far neither team really separated themselves. But if you're 0-4 and you take it to a team like American Fork, that's quite a way to bring some momentum into a rivalry game as the players enter the field once again.
And for Springville, they started off really hot. They got that 21-0 lead. It was a lot of Hollinger and Reimner and Thorpe, the quarterback, throwing the ball. They got them that early lead. They were able to run the ball very well, but they weren't able to punch it in that second quarter. And that one trick play by Conway, where Chappell pitched it back to Conway and he threw it down to Higginson for that 52-yard touchdown pass, and then they convert Conway on the 2-point conversion, as well as he threw that ball to the kicker, James Daw, to get Spanish Fork's 8 points. So it was a lot of Springville there in the first quarter, and Spanish Fork was able to settle in and win the second quarter with 8 points.
Yeah, and a lot of good work also by the defense, and on that last drive they got run over a little bit again. You see that there's just a lot of power, but they've been finding ways here and there to just get the amount of stops that they need to get the ball back in possession. Before this half starts, let's tell you one more time about our sponsors.
We've got the car guys with the instant replay, Dickerson Automotive with the offensive drive of the play, which was that Conway pass, we called that. earlier in the game, Triple T, heating, cooling, and plumbing with the keys of the game. Mikkel Christiansen Wise, great defensive play, makes a great offense. Lance Wilson, State Farm Insurance with the great assist of the game. MVP Sports with the MVP player of the game, which we will name at the conclusion, and then Two Jacks Pizza, because who does not love Two Jacks Pizza? Find me that person, please.
Third quarter is hungry time when you're in a booth, but a spectacular defensive play that we had in that was you had that critical third down when you saw the sack from Campbell, and that was a spectacular defensive play, but it was huge for momentum because you kind of felt like at any time the Red Devils could strike, even though they were getting backed up, having longer plays. On a 2nd and 20, I think there was still a lot of fear that, hey, this is going to be, it's still a contestable play, and that made it 3rd and 27, really swung the confidence, and fortunately the Dons able to take advantage and score.
Yeah, they did, and I mean, it's really their offense was that one trick play thus far in the ball game. They're going to have to do a little more on the offensive end if they want to keep in this game. Their defense is allowing that so far. If they want to get back in this game, though, I think they're going to need a little more from Chappell, which means they're going to have to give him a little bit more time to operate with.
Absolutely. Chappell, I think, on throws has had more than, those 2 steps, maybe once. And then, like you said, when he did have time, he has that internal clock. You ask offensive linemen to give you 3 seconds, to give you that drop and a pass in rhythm, maybe a second option also in rhythm, which is not easy. People say, 3 seconds isn't long. A good defensive lineman can give you 3 to 4 seconds, but right now he's getting 1.5, maybe 2 on most plays. And so even though he's not even doing full 3-step drops, makes it really difficult, and he's having to throw over this big line to certain spots, and it's been pretty difficult for Chappell. And when he has had some space, he had a couple of missed throws, so that passing game has a lot of missed opportunities. They've been able to complete the out route to Higginson and Stanton a couple times, but let's see if that strategy can get a little bit more dynamic for the Dons.
Yeah, what's crazy is the middle of the field has not been opened at all for the passing game, and they've been able to get a few passes out on the edge.
For the Dons, and one thing they were able to do is that second quarter kind of went by fast. There just seemed to be thing after thing that chewed some clock. They're going to get possession here. Of course, you've got to continue to score, but not that a big play is bad. Believe me, if they can do that double pass every time, I'm sure they'd love to do it. Now that Springville's been warned about it, I wonder if they'll go back to it, but see if they can chew some clock and get more points on the board and continue to make a game of it. Return again from the goal line, and Lomax is going to cross the field through a pretty big cross section of players, including a lot of Red Devils, and he gets taken down at about the 23-yard line.
Yeah, and Saili.
I apologize. That was not. I saw the 4 assumed again.
That was Saili that time. However, at the end of that play, I don't know why he went airborne. It's not like you were going to jump over 5 guys and get going, but man, that's a good sign for Spanish Fork. They're pumped up. They're ready to play.
Yeah, he got his motor going. He couldn't find quite anywhere to cut, but a good sign to start. Now, trips each way with one man in the backfield for Chappell. Inside handoff, Lomax. This has worked. He was looking for that space off tackle, and there was literally a man standing there like a bear with his arms wide open, waiting for him. That's number 67, Gavin Deed. So nothing there, not much Lomax could really do about it, and it's a gain of about half a yard.
The bear defense there.
Literally, he was just waiting off of that tackle who was engaged with the defensive end or the next man inside. Then when they draw 6 on that line, I'm not sure who's who, but easy play there. 2nd and 9. Here's a quick drop. This one gets tipped at the line again, going for that quick out to Stanton.
I believe that was Stack once again that got his hand up and knocked that ball down from his right defensive end position. He's been causing a lot of havoc on the edge.
And there a lot of successful players on the inside. That D-line has been so stout, and you can't always see what's going on in the pile, but you know that they're winning that battle in the trenches more often than not. It's about 3rd and 9.5 here for the Spanish Fork Dons, still sitting at the 23-yard line.
You're pretty much going to have to dial up a pass or some sort of trick play here.
just for a rush, 3-step drop. He's got a man open. That's Stanton, and he's going to dive over the sticks, and it's going to be a first down. So they've been able to find some room for their wide receivers on the outside.
A great job by Stanton that time, planning right where he needed to be, about half a yard past the first down marker, and then was able to pivot his way to a couple more yards. We'll take a look at that on the Car Guys instant replay.
You check this out again. The pressure is there, but good job by Chappell just saying, hey, I know where I got to go. I'm going to stand in, hopefully try and avoid the hands of some defensive lines. He's had 3 balls batted down, but he's able to be successful, and it's now 1st and 10 after completing a 3rd and long. That time the blitz came from the outside. They go straight up the middle and able to get 2.5, 3 yards out of the run. Against Springville, a strong front 4, but they are willing to bring that linebacker. He shot the B gap, though, and they were able to avoid it by going up the middle.
And it didn't look like much, but they were able to pick up, a solid 3 or 4 yards.
And if you can do that 3 times, a lot of times you're going to be able to get a first down. Again, you're chewing clock, you're getting yourself positive things, you're giving your defense more rest.
Right, and that's the goal of some of these service academies that just run the option. Hey, we're just looking to get 3 or 4 yards every time. But the key is they try and do it every time.
It kills me. 3-step drop here, a little bit of time for Chappell. He's got a man wide open. That's going to be Conway, who threw the first touchdown. And does he have it? He does. In the middle of 2 Red Devils, he's able to haul it in. And that is a nice spot for Chappell. His confidence has got to be soaring after a couple completions. Here's your Car Guys instant replay.
I think he was juggling that ball all the way. I mean, you can see it bobbling around. I don't know how he ended up catching it.
But he hugs it and it never hits the ground, and that's what matters.
It's a lot of bear hugs going on in the 3rd quarter. That's the theme so far.
So down 21-8, Spanish Ford gets a stop, and now they're moving there into Red Devil territory at about the 32-yard line. Quick inside handoff to Lomax. Again, those Red Devils come from the outside. They clog the inside, but he's able to get maybe 2 yards. You mentioned service academies. I grew up in Colorado, so I watched a lot of Air Force where the triple option is their favorite thing from head coach Troy Calhoun. And, man, they could compete in the Mountain West with it again and again. Lomax looks a little bit hurt. He's going to kneel down. Thought he was waiting for some help, but he jumps right back up. It looked like he was grabbing his wrist.
Yeah, I think he was. And I saw 3 guys come in and 2 guys go out. Maybe somebody went out early.
I did some quick counting, and I can't consider it accurate because it's just not my forte, but I think we're good with 11 guys. Here's a snap. The blitz comes. Time again, and this is a fly. He's got a little bit of a step. A really good move by the corner from Springville, getting the inside on the ball, and he's going to have a blocker. He comes out. Now he comes to the wide side of the field with plenty of space to go. And Dons are trying to get down the field, and eventually they're able to track him down. And that is a nasty turn of events. Eventually tracked down by Saili.
Wow, a lot going on that play.
Well, you throw it into double coverage again. You can see on the Car Guys instant replay, and he's just trying to put it down and a little too centered. A really good job by the corner of just stepping, getting the inside step, the ball a little bit short, and unfortunately not, just biting off a little more than you can chew.
Yeah, and Slavens catches that ball despite having a cast on his hand as well.
And he just stepped in at the right time. That ball just a little short and double, and he did. There was a time when he had the receiver open, but lands wrong. Play number 1 goes for no gain. Good job swallowing it up. And they believe the ball is loose.
Ref doesn't believe so.
Ref is not. He's saying that play was done.
2nd and 10 now. Slight loss on the play.
So 2nd and 10, 8:10 to go. We are still at 21-8. Red Devils leading. A little bit of momentum stunted there for the Dons, but positive things happening ever since that first quarter ended. Back to the power eye for the Red Devils at 2nd and 10.
Yeah, great stop on first down by the Dons defense.
And the man comes free right up the middle, and the good job by the fullback at picking him up, but his rakes a little bit of havoc, and his backup arrives on time to limit that to about a 2-yard gain, and we're looking at 3rd and 8. So putting them into 3rd and longs. Good job by the Dons defense, who's really, after they gave up 2 big plays where it was really one-on-one coverage, other than that, they've kind of stopped those big run gashes.
Right.
They've come back intermittently, but a really good job of shoring up the holes.
I'm going to say there was some 3rd quarter adjustments on this run attack, and whatever they adjusted, it is working thus far.
Here we go, 3rd and 8. And they're just going to hand it off. Straight dive, and that one gets tracked down once again. They believe in that play. They think they're more powerful, and it did work. But right now, the Dons rising to the occasion. It's 4th and 5, and we're going to see a punt from the Red Devils.
Yeah, this is the 3rd punt for the Red Devils, who just were marching down the field at will, both through the air and on the ground in the first quarter. But Spanish Forks tightening up the screws here.
See if we see a little bit more of Hollinger. Kelly Polo seems to be a little worn out. He's been getting those same plays again and again, and lately a lot less success coming. Stanton waiting back for this one. It's going to fall short of him. He's going to go ahead and catch it in front of a couple Red Devils, move between 2 of them, and then get wrapped up and taken down, but he gets an extra 6 yards or so out of that one, and it's going to be quality field position about the 34-yard line for the Spanish Fork Dons.
And I am glad that my kid, well, my kids aren't old enough, but I'm glad that they're not punt returners, because my heart always skips a beat when they're catching that ball in traffic.
And it takes guts, because you got to make sure you have the ball and you're not letting go, and you also got to make sure you're making the right first move. And he had 3 Red Devils right on him.
Exactly.
Twins each side. Lomax in the backfield. Chappell's going to turn inside and hand it off to him. He gets off tackle, finds a little hole, tries to squirt back inside, and he gets a gain of about 4. So a good play. Lomax finding some space once again. 6:12 to go in the quarter, with the Dons trying to get something going. They had something going last time, but a turnover ended that one. But a quick 3 and out by their defense has given them life once again. But they got to go ahead and get that second score before they can think about getting themselves neck and neck and or ahead in this one.
And Spanish Fork needs to avoid going 0-2 in region.
Absolutely. This one straight up the middle. Lomax didn't really fool anybody. Goes for about a half a yard, if that. So the Red Devils, that one right up the A gap, they seem to have stopped every single time. You know, when it comes to returners, I actually figured out the perfect way not to be a returner, and it was by not being fast enough. So just don't let your kid get too fast.
Yeah, teach your kids to eat. Everybody loves a good line.
Tackles don't get concussions. Come on.
Well, they do.
They do. It's just different story.
It's just from the CTE. It's not from the big hit across the middle.
Here's Chappell at 3rd and 6. And he has plenty of men all over him. He's able to complete it to Higginson, and he's going to have a first down. So a couple of really good 3rd down executions already. They got a 3rd and 9 last drive. As you check this one more time on the Car Guys replay.
Yeah, looks left, goes right on that little hitch pattern, and Higginson's able to turn and get a couple more yards after the catch. Now, if you're Springville, you've seen that a lot. On the next 3rd down, I'm telling my guys to jump it, and I'm dropping a safety deep in the kind of a cover 1 situation, or maybe dropping 2 safeties deep.
Blitz coming from Springville. It's picked up enough. Stanton gets the ball, turns his way out. The corner tracks him down, but he's able to dive forward, and that's a 9-yard completion on first down. So we're looking at 2nd and 1, but a little bit of rhythm here. This is something that Chappell, I'm sure, would have liked to get started a little bit earlier, but the Dons moving the ball, taking time off the clock, giving their defense rest. Really a good drive execution.
Right, and I think the key has been Chappell's getting more protection from his big hosses up front, which is allowing the wide receivers to complete their routes. I don't think they're sending as many guys. They're keeping the tight end and the running back in for blocking purposes.
And that time they send Lomax off tackle, and he's able to pick up another chunk of yardage. That was successful. And I think they're also noticing that when that middle linebacker blitzes, they're going outside. They've done it 3 times now. So the call is already in, but I think they're very aware of when those things are coming.
Yeah, when that middle linebacker blitzes, he's already heading towards the line. It's very difficult for him to run laterally and move outside. And so that Spanish Fork picks up another first down here inside the Red Devil territory.
We got about 3.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. The score remains the same as at halftime, but a 1st and 10 in Red Devil territory. Here's a step back in one-on-one coverage. Higginson is open, and it bounces off of him. We were behind him, so couldn't quite see how it went down in front, but Chappell had the fly route open, one-on-one coverage with Higginson, and it touched his hands.
Yeah, had that ball been thrown more inside and
Where he
maybe
could
a
cut-
little
yeah.
less air, I think we would have had ourselves a completion. But as it stands, it brings up 2nd down and 10.
So, I mean, first down, and you feel comfortable with it, yeah, take another shot. I really like the choice. You can just pick up a chunk of this yardage and try and take advantage of the one-on-one. Here's a pass once again, and they pick up the blitz once again. And this is the stand who slips between 2 defenders. He makes the safety miss, and he's all alone, and he's gone. Another touchdown for the Spanish Fork Dons. And they didn't need the fly route to go deep over the top. Just able to fit it in. One of the passes they've been doing all day. Stanton comes in, catches it. He evades the first guys, as you can see on the Car Guys replay, and then he has one guy to beat, and there's just too much space.
And a couple of Red Devil defenders run into each other. That's not how you play defense, for those of you at home.
So it's 21-14, and they're not lining up for the extra point. It's the same swinging gate 2-point conversion. Let's see if the Red Devils have some assignments this time around. And this time, Conway's going to take it himself. He's looking for the corner of the end zone. Oh, and he steps back, and he's got
That's Saili.
Saili. I was like, I don't want to be wrong this time. Wide open. He made it look like he was going to run it. Maybe he wanted to, but his man was open, and he tosses it over. And now it's a 5-point difference.
Looks like we have a
Oh, it was.
Don coach
They
down
were
as well.
celebrating. It was a
Yeah.
celebration, maybe not injury, but collision. Springville trying to get behind their team, getting hyped up, but we go from 21-0 to 21-16, and now you don't need a 2-point conversion or an extra point. If the Dons can score one more touchdown, regardless of what happens after that, they will have the lead. A gutsy call and a great play design on 2-point conversions. Huge props to the Spanish Fork Dons.
Yeah, and give Spanish Fork credit. They had the one interception, but for the most part, you haven't seen a lot of play-driving penalties. You haven't seen turnovers that have stopped, the possession altogether. So they've played a pretty clean game and done a great job at making adjustments to compete with the Springville Red Devils tonight.
Absolutely. If you told me this was going to happen in the beginning of the first quarter, I would have called you a liar, but that's why I'm not a betting man. This one gets punched into the air and caught at about the 15-yard line. Dons get in the area and take him down at about the 30. And things are getting a little bit chippy. You saw just somewhat clean, but they're some extra shoving. They want to get their hits in because this is inter-region play, and Springville, a heavy favorite on homecoming night, has allowed the Dons to get back into this game with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, and we saw this last week as Spanish Fork had a large, I believe it was a 16-3 lead at the half, and watched Salem Hills come back and win that game 22-19.
Power eye for the Red Devils. Yeah, last week, first quarter, Dons looked like they were in a little bit of trouble. Then they flipped the tables and then lose it at the end, so you never know. That one, plenty of time, is a throw and catch, kind of out of the Spanish Fork playbook, something they've done all day. And that's going to be for a completion of 9 yards. 2nd and 1 coming up for the Red Devils with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third.
Yeah, great job by Hess, number 42, coming up and making that tackle for Spanish Fork. But Springville had
a lot of space. Yeah,
it had a lot of space, but Springville had been running the ball, so Spanish Fork has to respect that.
This is up the middle and plenty of space, and the pile keeps on moving all the way out to midfield. And again, that's something the Dons have been able to stop recently, but just another powerful run right there from Kelly Polo.
And I wonder if that last pass actually loosened it up for the run game that time.
Things easily come in waves like that. Kelly Polo also had some time to rest after that long drive by the Dons.
The Dons would love nothing more than to have Springville lose on their homecoming weekend.
Absolutely, after a heartbreaker at Salem Hills last week. This one is pitched outside and getting around the corner eventually and picking up those last few yards. Good job holding the corner, but he was able to make 5 yards out of it.
Yeah, great job by Kelly Polo getting around the edge that time and getting a few yards. Once again, we have the lights out on the Spanish Fork side. Springville's getting their cell phones out. We got a full moon. Wonderful atmosphere here at Springville High School.
2nd and 3 here with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. And the Red Devils right now trying to march their way to extend a lead that they haven't been able to touch since the first quarter. And this is offsides, and I think it's going to be on the defense. They might have switched up the count to try and buy themselves a first down. And it will be encroachment. And that's a good call. If you've been on one rhythm all night, you know that they're aggressive and want to stop you on a second and short. Go ahead and switch up the count.
And if you're the defense, that is just a huge mistake, as you just given Springville the first down, which is
And it was almost
huge.
everybody. It looked like they were all pretty much coming across. And second and short is a great down. You can kind of do whatever you want there, but a first down here. Fake on the toss, back inside. Kelly Polo's got some space, and Spanish Fork able to converge on him, but he picks up about 6 yards before he comes down, and we're under a minute to go.
Now, if you're Spanish Fork, you're down by 5. If you can hold Springville just to maybe even a field goal as they're marching, that would you're still one possession game.
Absolutely. After 3 consecutive completion or 3 big-time plays by Conway, I mean, put the ball in his hands and feel like you can get another 2-point conversion. On that last one, he was able to make some things happen. And by the way, good crowd here for Spanish Fork coming just up the road. They're packed in the student section.
Yes, they are.
Here's Kelly Polo, and he had space, and a good job getting on that tackle on the end by Landon Jensen, because Kelly Polo is dangerous if you give him any space.
Now, I was going to say, this brings up a 3rd and 2. This is huge. Maybe even 3rd and 1.5.
Looks like they're going to let the quarter come to an end, but we come back a critical 3rd down and half a yard at the 30-yard line with the Red Devils marching, trying to extend their lead. We'll be right back here on Spanish Fork, Channel 17. Welcome back to Springville High School. Red Devils looking at a 3rd and about a half a yard in Spanish Fork Dawn territory. And they've got options, of course. I mean, they could power through it. They've been able to pick it up, but you know that's where Spanish Fork is going to be if they're gutsy on 4th and 1. As the Pittsburgh Steelers like to do, you throw a bomb or on 3rd and 1. And Thorpe will take it himself.
Didn't look like he got it.
It did not. And they're already signaling 4th down. Springville's already getting back on the ball, so maybe they thought about this, but great job by the interior of the Dons defense.
Wonder if they'll try the quarterback sneak once again.
And they don't this time. They give it to Kelly Polo, who's been a beast all night, and with forward progress, it looks like he is going to have the first down on 4th and 1. Not a lot of danger there because you're pretty deep in territory, but I think they consciously knew what they were going to do, and eventually they do pick it up.
Yeah, and they went quick that time. They didn't allow the Dons to make any adjustments on defense, and they are able to pick up just the yard they need. But Spanish Fork's run defense has been night and day better here in the second half for the most part.
So 1st and 10 from just inside the 30. And they're going to hand it off to Kelly Polo. He's been a workhorse. He's got space, and he's going to be all the way down to about the 4 or 5 yard line. They'll put him right at the 5. So that time he found space, able to get through that, punch his way through the first hole, and then go through some contact to get all the way down, and it'll be 1st and goal.
And I'm wondering if Spanish Fork's defensive line and linebackers are getting a little tired. They've been beat up physically by this Springville offensive line all night long.
Absolutely. See if they can hold up and hold to a field goal here. Just 5 yards to go, and a lot of dynamic stuff for Springville, but Spanish Fork has been up to the task. Here's where you'd want that turnover. Man in the backfield, Kelly Polo able to avoid him and barrel his way down inside the 1 yard line. Now, last week on a potential winning drive, Spanish Fork had a critical turnover, a critical fumble that led to Salem Hill's victory. So I'm sure they want to do that themselves, but at this point, it's going to be pounded in type of game for the Red Devils. Kelly Polo runs into a wall, and he won't get it, and it's going to be 3rd down and goal.
Looks like he lost a yard that time.
Yeah, that time definitely didn't get all the way back to that line.
Great job by Spanish Fork stepping up to the challenge.
So 21-16, but the Red Devils knocking on the door. 9 minutes and 50 seconds by the time I finish the sentence to go in the game. Power I formation, I maybe throw it here to fake him out, but I expect him to try and pound it in. Pull to the other side, and there was space that time. And it's touchdown Springville, and their lead is back up to 2 scores.
And Kelly Polo gets his first touchdown of the night. The other 3 touchdowns Springville had were the lawn variety, and this one was their first one that they punched in from the goal line.
Kelly Polo, I think he's earned that one. I think after you pound away and away, and the other guys are the ones who have the points, nice for him to taste the end zone. But that makes it 27-16. Probably just going to see an extra point here, so it'll be a 12-point advantage for the Red Devils. Plenty of time for Spanish Fork, but they're going to need a little bit more magic and another big stop at least. And this is up and no good. So doesn't make too big of a difference because you still need more than a touchdown into 2-point conversion, but just a 9-point lead for the Red Devils with 9:36 to go. We stand at 27-16. Let's take a second and give a shout out to our sponsors. Seen all these wonderful replays thanks to the car guys. Dickerson Automotive sponsored that drive of the game. Still a spectacular double pass I won't soon forget. State Farm, Lance Wilson, McKelkus, Jansen, and Wise, attorneys at law. Triple T, heating, cooling, and plumbing. MVP Sports, and of course, 2 Jacks Pizza, which is really a great way to watch football or just hang out on a Friday night.
I'm down for that. I'm down for pizza on Monday night, Tuesday night. Oh, all the nights for that matter.
There's no such thing as a bad night for pizza.
Little update for you. It looks like Maple Mountain is trailing American Fork 14-13. Last update was with 9:55 to go in the third quarter. I'm sure they're a lot further along than that, but that's all I'm getting from the Des News.
Here's a kickoff from Springville, and this one looks like it's going to be back into the end zone. Now, interesting, I think the last couple times they've brought it out of not out of the end zone, but with a foot on the goal line, which I thought you were supposed to call, but they've been able to bring it out. That time he has a foot in the end zone, and they call it dead, so it'll be a touchback. But just interesting way we've seen it called, but it'll be the 20-yard line for the Dons, who have been able to move the ball so far this half. They've only gotten 1 score out of it because of an interception, but either way, they're within striking distance. They know they can play with this team that really looked like they were on an entire different level in the first quarter. The Dons looked really good since then, and they're going to rush 5. Here's a throw from Trappel. That's going to be complete out to Stanton, and it looks like it's a first down or close to it.
Yeah, and Springville's still going with this one-on-one coverage. If you give Chappell enough time to operate, Stanton or Higginson, they're getting open, and there's some holes with this one-on-one coverage, and you make one guy miss. We saw Stanton do that earlier, and he was on his way to the races.
So 1st and 10, they did end up getting the first down exactly at the 30, keeping things even with 9 minutes to go. Chappell steps back. Similar play, and that one out to Higginson, who will step out with about a 2-yard gain.
Bring up a manageable 2nd and 8. At least they didn't lose anything here, but the coverage for Springville is very tight. But if you're Spanish Fork, you're going to have to score in a hurry because the clock is ticking.
Hey, you can't really have a 6-minute drive here because you're going to have to get the ball back once again. So we'll see if they take a shot, but they've got 2nd and 8 right now, still deep in their own territory. Inside handoff to Lomax, maybe trying to throw him off after consecutive passes, and again, inside, Red Devils able to swallow up those plays before they really develop, and that one goes for about a half a yard, so it's going to be 3rd and long for Spanish Fork.
Just out of curiosity, Mitch, did you see the score last weekend between Jordan and Taylorsville?
I did not, but I'm excited to hear what it is.
It was 91-83.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I work at a news station. One of our reporters who usually tweets about hard crime was tweeting about this high school football game because she couldn't believe what was happening. And she was like, they just keep scoring. I guess they're like Baylor. They don't know what a defense is. Here's the snap. He's got time. Throws it deep and way too far. and they're gonna. I think they're gonna call pass interference. Where I thought it was uncatchable, but a flag is in the air. That was double coverage, and they're gonna get a. I don't know what else it would be.
Well, it's a government bailout that time for the Dons, and they'll take it as they'll get 15 yards on the pass interference.
Wow.
But that ball was uncatchable. The contact, I think, was minimal, and I think Saili more or less stumbled, as we saw here on the Car Guys instant replay.
You just saw it. It looked like the defenders were almost like stopping up because the play was over, and they end up interfering with Saili's process.
Yeah, and I think he more or less tripped over his own feet, too.
Yeah, and that was tight double coverage. He goes stand back to pass once again. He has time once again, and this one is swung out to Condi. He uses his speed, able to get to the sideline. Looked like a face mask, and he really wasn't in contact with him until he was just about out of bounds. Ends up being about a 7-yard, 8-yard gain. Condi finally getting to use a little bit of his speed. The first time we've really said his name on offense today. And I guess hand just kind of bumps off of the face mask.
That's probably more of a 5-yard call, but if I were a Spanish Fork fan, I wouldn't complain too much because they did get away with that pass interference. At least the refs are calling it inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent. That's what we like to see. 2nd and 4 for the Spanish Fork Dons. Inside handoff to Lomax. He's going to get off of the edge. Oh, and just before he's able to get free, a really good job of the defensive end by staying with it and dragging him down. It's going to be a loss of a yard for Lomax and the Dons. Now they're looking at 3rd and 5. We're at 7:30 to go in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and that was a great job by Andrew Stack coming from his defensive end position on the way there. We'll try and minimize the wind hitting our mics here as we've lowered the window.
Third and 5. Trapple will throw again. And flags fly, and this one will stop before it ever really started.
Yeah, you get in that 3rd and 5 situation, it looks like a false start will push him back to 3rd and 10. But I think now you're in 4-down territory, unless you're in field goal range, because you do need a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and field goal just to tie this up. So
3rd and 10, but like you said, when you're not too close to your end zone, and with the clock ticking, you've got to go ahead and try and orchestrate something where you can get a chunk and give yourself an opportunity to get the first down. Stanton and Condi out to the left, Higginson out to the right, and then another slot receiver on the left side, and Lomax in the backfield with Chappell. He'll drop back to throw. Good job by Lomax picking up the block. The corner falls, and Higginson catches it. That's a first down on 3rd and 10. They get about 12 yards, and that's a huge pickup. Another big-time 3rd down for the Dons.
Yeah, great job by Higginson adjusting to the ball. It wasn't a well-thrown ball, but he used all 6 foot of his frame to get that ball. I listed him at 5'11", but he was 6 foot on that play.
Hit with the cleats, he's 6 foot. You're ready to go like 6'2", 6'3". Anytime something starts with a 6, I get jealous. I'm under that threshold. It's a little sad, but it's been 6 foot was enough. So 1st and 10 from the 41. 2 backs, fake the inside handoff. This one's going to go long, and this is going to be over the head of the receiver, and just not in a good spot. That one, he's kind of throwing blind to his spot, and the safety's been there every time for Springville, so I don't think that's the long play that's going to result, but on 1st down, why not take a shot?
And Springville's done a great job with the safety. There's usually only been one of them dropping back deep, and he's picking the right side of the field. And I think some of that has to do with Chappell maybe reading or locking on who he's throwing to at times.
Lomax going to find the edge once again. He's going to barrel his way for an 8-yard gain, and it's going to be 3rd and short, probably about 3rd and 2. And you know, he loves kind of, it looks like a dive and then able to find his way off tackle. Springville shut it down for a while, but it seems to be back in play for the Dons.
Yeah, they did, but I think that's been a couple of adjustments made by well, it's just a cat and mouse strategy game, if nothing else.
You can see coaching happening, and that's always good. And these kids playing well, coachable. All right, here's Chappell. stepping back quick inside slant to Condi, who's behind him, but he catches it, and he's going to go ahead and get a first down, pick up about 10, 11, 12 yards. See where they end up running this, but about 11 yards. Condi all of a sudden getting involved in the offense. Him, Higginson, Stanton. I mean, the ball's starting to spread around, and they're moving down the field almost to the red zone of the Red Devils.
Yeah, and, you know, at the first of this game, it's like they could, I think it was Springville's blitz was just disrupting the pass game, but as of late, Chapel's looked very precise in the throw game.
Yeah, it's been night and day from those first 4 throws or so. He's had some times where he's thrown to spots that are dangerous, but overall successful. And he's got double coverage once again, and that one is out of the end zone anyway. But that safety didn't come over right away, but the ball takes so long to get there that Higginson is going to be covered by 2 guys. I knew as soon as he was alone, that's exactly where Chapel looked, and it developed pretty quickly. And just nothing doing, but again, first down, and they just say, hey, we're going to take a shot. Just 4 minutes and 52 seconds to go in this one, and again, they need 2 scores.
Yeah, they need 2 scores, and they need to get one on this drive. If you take too much time, you might even have to go for the onside kick.
Time again, and this is a quick inside throw. Not sure who caught it quite yet. And it was Stanton. So, I mean, things are working, but I think they're taking those shots on first down because they know, like, the sooner the better. But they've got a manageable 3rd and 4. Again, 4-down territory, but now into the red zone.
And the timing on these pass plays have been precise. Chapel's getting the ball out when he needs to. He's not waiting too long, because if you do, you'll give that cornerback or safety plenty of time to come up and make that interception.
And a good job by Lomax blocking. You got to love when a man who loves to have the ball as he pounds his way right up the middle and drags. Oh, and a little bit different. Mix it up. That's Landon Jensen, whose name we've said a few times for doing a lot of different things all over the field. Picks up that first down right up the gut where they haven't had a lot of success. But these running backs, again, especially Lomax, been there a lot, picking up that extra blitzer, and you can't say that enough. You hate a diva running back or wide receiver who won't do his part blocking, and Spanish Fork has a bunch of hard-working players, and they're about to get themselves in the end zone once again, but we're at 3:50 and counting. Chapel outside to Condi, and that one just in that wrong spot where the defensive back able to get a hand on it. Almost a touchdown. Does stop the clock with 3:42 to go, and it'll be 2nd and 10, or 2nd and goal. That looks like they're right about the 10-yard line with the line of scrimmage stick.
And Condi thought he should have came down with that one, but that would have been a tough catch to make for him that time.
He was behind him in an odd spot, but it had some odd contact, but he just knows it was that close. We'll see if they bring Condi inside and trying to isolate Stanton by himself. And no, it's an inside slant to Condi, and he's in the end zone, and it's a 1-score game once again. The clock is ticking, but the Spanish Fork Dons have risen to the occasion after a very difficult beginning. They have fought their way back twice now, and they've got a chance to win this one. Check it out in the Car Guys replay. They've been able to find space on those inside slants, and great placement by Chapel. They're lining up for the 2-point conversion once again in the swinging gate. You've
got to go for it this time, because if you don't get it, you're down 5. No big deal. If you do get it, though, you get that all sorts of things going on there. You're going to waste a timeout here when they really need it for their defense.
They think it's valuable enough to make sure they get these points and give themselves the possibility of tying with the field goal.
Well, if you're Spanish Fort, depending on the outcome of this kick, or this 2-point conversion, I guess it's decision time. Do you go for the onside kick? There's 3:38, or do you punt? You'll have 2 timeouts.
You would need a 3 and out, and this offense is really good. So special teams has been successful so far, but maybe they have something else up their sleeve.
We'd like to thank the sponsors real quick. The Car Guys, Dickerson Automotive, Triple T Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, Mikhail Christiansen Wise, Lance Wilson State Farm, MVP Sports, and of course, my favorite pizza sponsor, 2 Jacks Pizza. Yeah, so we'll see, depending on this play, I think They're still 338, but the way Kelly Polo and Springville have been running the ball, I'd be hesitant to give it to them.
You've got to think that they could waste time. They could get that 1 or 2 first downs. So I would expect an onside. Let's see what they come up with for a third 2-point conversion. Stanton runs out. He's got a man on his back, and he's going to try and get in the end zone. 2 guys looking for him, and he gets in the corner. Wow. Again and again, he's finding ways to score. You've got a man on you. You're able to turn the corner and then fool 2 guys waiting at the goal line. Man, he might just be our MVP Sports MVP of the game. For all the good things that have happened, he's been the spark, and he's got his team a touchdown. He's got 12 points of the team from that quarterback hybrid special teams position.
Yeah, he's gotten 6 points on special teams as the quarterback, and as the running back on that running back pass of 51 yards. Conway got 6 points that way. He's been huge. Honestly, he has single-handedly taken this team and given them all the enthusiasm and momentum to keep in this ball game. And since we decide the MVP Sports MVP player of the game, unless something amazing happens here in the last 3 minutes and 38 seconds, I'd say that's who the early guy would be for my vote.
Absolutely, and the offense, when they've been able to move the ball, shout out to Chappell for turning things around, being focused. You've had Lomax as a workhorse, all those receivers contributing. It looks like they're going to kick it long, but a great performance by a lot of Dons to make this one a game. And it will be a pooch kick right behind that front line, and the Red Devils able to pick it up and step out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. So they'll have to play some defense and work and figure out how to keep some time on the clock and give themselves an opportunity. And we know once they get that ball, they're going to have something up their sleeve.
Now, if I'm Springville here, I'm going play action pass and going deep because I believe Spanish Fork's going to be expecting the run here, and you've set that up by the way you've been able to run the ball. I know it's a little bit risky, but it's region play. You want to go 2-0 if you're Springville.
You got to step on the throat.
Yeah, you got to step on the throat. Once you go conservative, sometimes you lose these
Which
games
means
in
secondary,
a conservative fashion.
Yeah, secondary's got to be prepared for those one-on-ones in case there is a deep throw. And this is a handoff to the man, the myth, the legend, Kelly Polo, who's had an excellent game. That time, they're up to the challenge. And again, they've been able to just pound that ball away, and they really just need a first down or two. So we'll see if they continue to do that. No timeout this time from Spanish Fork. They're good, so 40 seconds will find its way off the clock.
Yeah, and great job by Spanish Fork. And they've gotten beat a few times on the run, but for the most part, you're not seeing the pile move as much.
Yeah, before it was the pile, it was the holes. There were just some different things going on. Power eye once again from Springville, and it's a rollout. It's going to be a pass. And this is intercepted, and he's going to take it all the way back to the 15. Oh, wow, Saili with the play of the game. Second time that they've rolled out Thorpe, and he just throws it into coverage. Saili leaps in front of it and pulls it out. And that we're going to call that a Mikael Christiansen Wise attorney to the law. Great defensive play. Great defense makes a great offense. And that's an offensive play when he gets the ball and gets himself down to the 15. Now Spanish Fork ready to play spoiler on homecoming night for the Red Devils. Down just 3 and back in business with 2:47 to go. The script has flipped as Springville now has to play the clock.
Well, and I called that play earlier for Springville to run, but that is the risk you run when you throw the ball.
Here's Chappell with the inside handoff. Safe play on play 1, and it's going to squeeze out, it looks like, for about 2.5 yards or so. But yeah, you give yourself options, and you have a quarterback who's been playing well, and credit the defense for not having any big windows, so he has to throw in an area that's in danger, and Spanish Fork able to make the big play.
Yeah, that is a huge play by Saili as he jumped up on his ladder and make that interception. And if the Dons can punch it in, man, they'll head back to Spanish Fort most likely with an upset victory here.
Chappell's going to step back and throw. He's looking for that slant, and another ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's number 77 for Springville. Andrew Slack, we've said his name a few times, and his defensive line coach, he said that's a name you may not say a ton, but he's going to make some plays.
Yeah, and he's really closed down a lot of those passing windows. We saw that a lot in the first half, and then once again on that last play. But Matt, he's a tall guy. I'd say he's about 6'5", 6'6", and a great basketball player as well. And it's great when you can have a big guy like that has good hands.
Now, you want to score a touchdown if at all possible here. Nothing doing on the first two, so it's 3rd and 7. If they don't make this, they're still going to have to get a field goal, never a gimme, and that just makes it a tie game with time on the clock. One-on-one throw. They're going to put in the hands of Stan. He dives, and it's going to be not caught and out of the back of the end zone. So Springville cheers as their defense rises to the occasion after a mistake by the offense. Spanish Fork not able to capitalize to the point of a touchdown. They will put it in the hands the foot
of James Daw.
Of Daw, who has a catch for a 2-point conversion but hasn't kicked tonight because the man who's going to be holding the ball, Conway, has been completing 2-point conversions. And if I'm Springville,
watch for the fake.
Watch for the fake.
Spanish hasn't used a timeout. They still have 2.
And this is up, and it is through, and we have a tie game. Ladies and gentlemen, it gets no better than this under the Friday night lights in region play. 27-27. Spanish Fork trying to play spoiler on homecoming night for the Red Devils, who blew a 21-0 lead. Ever since then, it's been a little bit back and forth, but they've only put 6 more points on the board, missing an extra point, and every time Spanish Fork has been able to, they've capitalized. They've made mistakes of their own, but through the back and forth, we end up in a draw. Both teams with plenty of timeouts, but it's going to be Springville with the ball and a 2-minute drill to try and bring this one home.
And how huge has the special teams extra point attempts been? Spanish Fork has went 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions, and Springville missed that extra point. And Spanish Fork's been able to close the gap by having 1 less touchdown in that field goal. So that's been huge in this ball game.
The third phase of the game has given them a 4-point advantage because you take 1 away and you add 3 of your own. Here's the kickoff. And it'll be in the end zone. Looked like he's trying to jump and keep it out, but it's going to be a touchback. And it'll be 80 yards versus a minute 56 on the clock for the Red Devils. I mean, this is the moment you want. You want to take it down, but they've only been able to get 6 points this entire half. Really, Spanish Fork has trusted their defense, and they came up huge.
Now, on those touchbacks, high school is the only level I know of that's still getting the ball at the 20. In the NFL, they've moved it to the 25, which I think's had some unintended consequences with teams trying not to kick it in the end zone.
Absolutely. And that's a 1-year trial. It'll be interesting to see if it continues to be that issue. This one is going to be handed off to Kelly Polo, and he is found out and taken down after a minimal gain. So that run game, again, Spanish Fork has just found a way after it was so deadly to stop it. Looks like it's going to be about a full yard gain. 2nd and 9. Clock is ticking, a minute 38 to go. It'll be interesting to see if they can pick up chunks or if they have to pass the ball, because last time you did that, you put it in danger, and it almost spelled the end of the game for you.
And Springville's playing for overtime here. If I'm Spanish Fork and I get a stop, I'm calling timeout.
Absolutely. You take the momentum with you. That time a bigger chunk yards, about 9 yards, but that'll end up being a first down. But the clock is ticking. They're going to need a little bit more. It's interesting. I wonder if they just think that they're going to be able to pick up those chunks, or if this is just playing for overtime. And
well, they're huddling up at the end of the first half. They were going no huddle I formation, running up the middle. They were getting huge yards.
Minute 4 to go. You don't want to put the ball in danger, but if they can get a one-on-one on the outside, I'm sure they'd love that. And they're not doing it. It's just a ground and pound game right up the middle. And the clock is going to be at 53. Somebody called a timeout.
What's crazy is how reminiscent of last year's game. Springville got out to a couple touchdown lead there in the first quarter and was barely able to hold on for the victory.
And Springville does call a timeout. Interesting that they didn't call one before, but 50 seconds. They still have, they're showing 3, but I think it's going to be 2 timeouts after this. They have a 2nd and 7. They're still on their side of the field, but maybe they have a trick play if they start throwing the ball. This is not a long way to go. This game has been so crazy that it's not off to think that, and I'm sure they just want to take care of this if they can, but we'll see if Spanish Fork can come up with a big play if the ball gets put back in the air.
Yeah, imagine anything's possible at this point. If you would have told me at the end of the first quarter it would be 27-27 with 53 seconds to go, I would have laughed at your face and called you names.
I would have called you a liar, but I would have said sign me up for however that happens. And the Spanish Fork has put on a show after they were on pace to lose 84-0. This is a fake turn. Thorpe finds a man, he skies for it, and it is incomplete. He wanted the deep ball, and it wasn't there, and that's good that he's able to track that. He wasn't just going to try and toss it up for the spot. Spanish Fork covers it there, and that's been successful a couple times, of course, today for Springville. He ends up kind of checking down, and tons of white jerseys in the area, and a little too high of a throw from Thorpe.
And credit Trey Lofton that time, as he was able to knock, or, you know, it was a catch, and he was able to knock the ball out and split the defender's wrists.
So here we go. 3rd and 7. The crowd's in it. We're feeling it.
Usually you want to be quiet when your team has the ball, but here at Springville they do things a little different.
Yeah, you want them to be able to hear and go. I mean, you get them excited, but yeah, see if you can help them out. So Springville's got a 3rd and long, and now if, you know, they pick up 5 or 6 yards, there's still the clock to think about, and they have to get a first down. And this is not 4-down territory, because you don't want to lose the game by giving the ball away this deep in territory.
And if you're Spanish Fork, you get a stop and the clock's still moving, you got to use that timeout. They're only blitzing 3. It's a screen.
Lots of space and almost a first down, but not quite. So the clock is ticking, and they've got a 4th and 2.
Spanish Fork's not using a timeout.
That's interesting.
I pretty much can let the clock run out here.
I think Springville at this point is saying, well, if they're not going to call timeout, we're not going to, or they are going to.
They might be throwing the old Hail Mary. You might want to look for a trick play.
They might say, hey, with all this time on the clock, we might as well go for it. Yeah, this, unless he takes a knee, this could be a huge opportunity. Or maybe they're just trying to get him to jump for the first, and they're going to let the clock run. Surprised they didn't try a fake spike. That's my favorite play on Madden. The good old fake spike and toss it long. So we have come to the end of regulation, and after a game that has gone back and forth, it is a draw at 27s. You have the 4-0 Springville Red Devils, who are leading this region quite comfortably and seem to be dominant, and the Spanish Fork team that said, not so fast, we're still here to compete, still here to spoil this.
And we'll take a break here on SFCN.
Welcome back to Springville High School. The captains are headed to the middle of the field for the coin toss for overtime. We stand at 27-27. You had 3 consecutive touchdowns by the Red Devils, just 6 points in the second half. They missed an extra point, which right now would be the difference. 3 times the Dons have completed 2-point conversions, and then they kick a late field goal to tie this one up. And I mean, we've seen double passes, we've seen turnovers, and it's been a pretty spectacular way to get to overtime, but somebody's going to win it.
This is our second overtime game here on SFCN, as the first one was Maple Mountain versus North St. Pete. And North St. Pete ended up getting a touchdown, and Maple Mountain was only able to get a field goal, and that was the difference in that ball game. So very exciting night here in the second week of region play. We'll see if Spanish Fork's able to complete the comeback tonight.
And what a way to go with the game that would be for Spanish Fork. After a disappointing loss at their homecoming last week, kind of losing it at the end there to their crosstown rival Salem Hills, and a couple of frustrating other losses early in the season. But to go 1-1 and beat the team that is a clear favorite in the region would be a huge way to move forward. And we'll see how this one comes out in just a moment.
Yeah, and anything can happen here. I mean, I am at a loss for words because I'm really surprised by the way this game was going. That Spanish Fork was able to capitalize on some Springville mistakes, get back in this thing, and we'll see if they can't pull this out in overtime. And they won the toss, so they'll start out here on defense. Now, if you're Springville, I think you try and run the ball in. They've had a lot of success, and Thorpe just threw that interception.
And it seemed like they were willing to run the clock out. I don't know if they just not trusting Thorpe at the end. Thorpe does drop back, and he goes into one-on-one coverage in the back of the end zone. And that might have been pass interference. They don't get the call, and the crowd is a little upset after the call that made a big deal for Spanish Fork.
I think it was an uncatchable ball. I think that was a good call by the official that time, and bring up 2nd and 10.
Condi didn't quite turn around, but the ball was in a very difficult spot for the receiver to try and get around and into. But this time we do see shotgun, 2 out to the right, 1 out left. You got a tight end on the right side of the line, and they're going to hand it off inside to Kelly Polo, and he gets a big hit after a gain of about 7.5 yards. So they just kind of said, all right, we're going to now run out of the shotgun and mix it up a little bit, and they still have a great set of running backs.
And they've got Springville. The Deseret News has Springville ranked as the number 4 team in the 4A, so this would be a huge upset for the Dons if they're able to figure out a way to win this one.
And the handoff just outside of the guard, and Kelly Polo keeps on trudging. I mean, that was a hard-fought 3 yards, and it looks like that will be a first down.
Got it by half a yard that time, and first and 10 from the 14.5. Or they're marking it right at the 15.
So I'm pretty sure of these rules. We did some games last year, but if they score, Spanish Fork will have an opportunity to respond. They will have to match them. If they kick a field goal, Spanish Fork will have the option to win, tie, or not score. And Kelly Polo gets hit in the backfield, keeps on fighting, and now it's just a battle for the ball. Campbell tries to rip it out at the end there, but they'll go ahead and call it a stalemate.
Now, if you're Springville, you might want to think about going for 2. Spanish Fork's 3 for 3 so far in this game, and if you score, you got to be prepared for Spanish Fork to convert on that 2-point. Something you got to think about. I mean, you did miss an extra point as well, so points are a premium in overtime, especially when you're the first team to go. You got to set the bar high for the other team to match.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking they would not want to settle for a field goal here, and then they do have to be very conscious, and there's a lot of space in there, and that's going to go all the way down to about the 2-yard line. That handoff goes on the inside to Jackson Murphy, who had a big play back in the first quarter, but has been a lot of Kelly Polo ever since then.
Yeah, it has been. And Spanish Fork, though, they've got to keep him out of the end zone here, because you know, if you score a touchdown, you want to just run right to your sideline, congratulate each other, and then go shake hands. But if you can keep Springville out of the end zone here, that'd be huge.
1st and goal. Kelly Polo's ankle gets grabbed in the back, and then he's able to make a couple guys miss and fall his way into the end zone, and it's a touchdown for Springville. They lead now 33-27, but you pointed this out, didn't really occur to me. This is pretty important. They're going to kick an extra point, and I think you see on the Car Guys replay, he's just able to battle his way in. I think this is the way to go for them. I think that way you put Spanish Fork in the position where they have to convert a 4th 2-point conversion, or just kick one to tie it and play it safe.
Yeah, they did miss one earlier, though, and it's a bad snap.
And that is going to be incomplete. A bad snap. The holder tried to put it back down, but the kicker wasn't ready. Gets up, tosses it back, and then there's nowhere for Ben Schreiner to run. He should have launched it into the end zone at least to try, but couldn't find anything. He gets taken down, and now all it takes is a touchdown and an extra point for Spanish Fork to win. But, hey, we've seen this Springville defense stop them several times tonight, and they've got 25 yards to go, and then they do have to get some sort of points after that. But field goal is not an option, and any turnover would end the game. So they have to complete the comeback.
Got to complete the comeback, and you have 4 downs to do it. And I remind Chapel of that as well, not to force anything until it is 4th down.
Man, that was a crazy play. Tried to wait, let it develop, and difficult spot for Springville. Here they go. They go for it all on the first play, and it's going to fall incomplete, and that is very lucky because the safety went over there and just settled in and waited for it. He misjudged it, and luckily it fell incomplete, but he just tried to go for the one-on-one with Condi, but the safety was there, 3 seconds before the ball. I apologize, this is not Condi, that is Stanton.
Yeah, they've ran that little fade pattern multiple times, and the safety, once again, is in great position, but Stanton still had a chance at it there.
That is Cole Bowers, who's a very good athlete and just a junior. I've called him in a few sports as well, and he really could have ended things there. All right, Chapel steps back once again. He looks out for the slant. This time it is to Condi. He finds some space. He's headed out, goes up the sideline for a couple more, and he gets about 7.5, 8 yards on the play, and it'll be 3rd and 2. And again, they do need to get a first down here to give themselves a little bit more life. You have got to score this time around.
They have 2 downs to get to 3 yards. The field goal is not an option unless you want to be fired as a coach.
I think, someone on the sideline would just have to stop him right there.
Exactly.
You got Higginson by himself with a corner, out wide left, a safety over the top, Condi in the slot. They're going to hand it off, and a little unexpected, and the ball is fumbled, and Springville picks it up, and that will be the end of the game. Lomax had the first down, had plenty of space. He's been the workhorse all night. Haven't seen a thought of the ball coming loose, and that gets ripped out. And Springville comes up with a big turnover, the big defensive play after almost coughing up a 3-touchdown lead, and they will win this one 33-27. Condi is in the middle of the field, very upset and frustrated. You just saw him move off of camera, but frustrating for a young man. They worked very hard and almost completed a spectacular comeback.
Yeah, they did indeed, and just a little bit too short, but give the Dons some credit because I thought they were dead in the water, and they went ahead and took this thing into overtime, so maybe that'll give them some confidence going into the Maple Mountain game next week.
We'll be right back in just a moment with your MVP Sports MVP of the game, and to wrap things up here from Springville High School, you're watching Spanish Fort, Channel 17.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
33-27 is your final score. The hometown Springville Red Devils win their homecoming game in dramatic fashion after a blistering start to the game. The Spanish Fork Dons, the big-time underdogs, show a lot of spirit by fighting their way back, doing some excellent things with big plays and special teams to draw it at 27 in overtime. Springville able to get the touchdown, and on the final play of this one, Spanish Fork gives up the ball on a fumble, and that's 2 straight games where fumbles have kind of been the knife that ends the game for the Spanish Fork Dons, but a valiant effort. They showed they could play with a top 4 team in this state. 0-2 to start region play, but a lot of reason to be excited as they move forward. 33-27 is the final, but of course MVP Sports, with all the spectacular football, still has for you an MVP Sports MVP of the game. We have some fireworks going off if you can hear what's going on. It is all good cracks going on, but Chris Hurst is right here with our MVP Sports MVP of the game.
We're going to go with the sophomore tonight, Noah Conway. He did it all on those extra point attempts as he was 3 for 3 on 2-point conversions, and also as the running back had a 52 yard pass play down to Jackson Higginson, and that was the play that I think sparked the comeback, because before that play they were down 21-0 and looked dead in the water with no momentum at all in this ball game.
He completed a lot of big plays, made a lot of good things happen. Now, would those fireworks have gone off if they would have lost because it's homecoming? I'm just wondering.
No,
but
they would have saved them.
Okay. Save them for another night. Big party going on in the middle of the field. Congratulations to Springville. They really are a spectacular football team and represent Region 8 well. We'll see if they've got difficult games to come. But next week is really the big one for Spanish Fork. As a city, you've got Maple Mountain and Spanish Fork. They're going to go at it under the Friday night lights to compete for who is the Fork champion, if you will, who gets to take the fork and eat the steak at the end of the night. Maple Mountain had a good night against a very good team, but both teams frustrating starts to the season, but both with a lot of talent, so we'll see how things turn out when they come together. Any final thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I think if you're Spanish Fork, you are 1-4, 0-2 in region, but you have played some of the tougher teams early. They cannot get discouraged. There are winnable games left. There is a chance to make it into the playoff push. And if you're Springville, you 2-0 in region once again. They didn't lose a region game. You've got to feel pretty good about that. But like I said, for Spanish Fork, do not get discouraged. Keep your heads up. There is some winnable games, and you will have a shot to fight for that, for a playoff spot for sure, and maybe even a home game in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if you can compete with a team like this, you compete with any team in 4A. So if you make the playoffs and win one game there, that's a great way to move forward. And of course, a lot of young guys starting. You have a sophomore MVP Sports MVP of the game. We'll have to see if Conway ends up being that quarterback in a year or two. Really good to see his arm and competent execution of some excellent plays. But it was an entertaining night, and we would like to thank you for joining us here on Spanish Fork 17. My name is Mitchell Marshall. You've been hearing me and Chris Hurst. We want to thank our entire crew, cameramen, everybody in the truck. We love to watch Friday Night Light football with you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Spanish Fork 17. From Springville High School, we're signing out.